Now, people, we've got our first Yo Noble question. Last week, we didn't get to answer the first question, so there's a few things we're going to talk about today. So we're going to start with Yo Noble. I want to speak a little bit about Rocky's fight, which has been announced. New Paddy Pimblett fight been announced. I've been
Fabian's
watching.
fighting tonight.
Who's fighting tonight?
Fabian.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Is that for the title?
Yes. You see, this, we'll get into it, but yeah. Continue to.
Okay, yeah, we'll jump into all that.
Yeah.
You know what? We might throw out the Ngannou thing, then we'll put that in next week. A little bit of a recap on the Joe Rogan interview, but we'll do that next week because we got so much. We'll touch Russell Brand. We'll touch the XL bullies being banned. We got a few bits to talk about, man. So we're going to start with the Yo Noble question now, people. I'm going to post the details for the Yo Noble questions. So I'm going to post the details. So from now on, the details will be posted. Then just email in whatever questions, whatever topics, and we'll cover it, man, on the Saturday stream. So, Noble, take it away.
Indeed. And pardon self, give thanks for everybody who is thus far participated with the emails and DMs and all that. I've noticed there's been a concurrent theme. Now, I won't get into too much detail, but there's a concurrent theme. It's either relationship-based questions, which is all good, you know what I mean? It's all good. And we're getting a lot of inquiries reference kind of what's it, money management. I guess that would be a good way to sort of encapsulate it. But I've picked an interesting one. So let me start. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit to protect, the identity. So ages might be a little bit different, etc. So in essence, we got a couple. There is a bit of an age range in this relationship. The male was married previously. Now he's out and about doing his thing, single life, and meet a wonderful young lady. They hit it off, and it was almost like they had always known each other kind of thing. So they have what they call it, a whirlwind romance. Get married pretty shortly after, I think within about a year plus. Everything's going wonderful. Everything's perfect. No problems. Obviously you have your ups and downs in regards to arguments and whatever, but everything's on point. Then she goes away on a retreat. She goes away on a retreat for 5 days and comes back with these interesting concepts. Some of them were pretty radical, and they embraced them. But when it got to the bedroom, that's when the concepts became even more radical. Now you're thinking, where's Noble going with this here, man? So what happens is, he has a wonderful relationship. I think it's 3 odd years or something, 2.5, whatever the period is. But it was a settled, pretty much stable relationship. Things get switched up after this little shenanigans. And she then says, now, I don't think, this is where I'm going to query this. She says that she's now only interested in tantric sex. Now, to elaborate in her version of what this tantric sex is, it's very akin to, if you go back to the movie Demolition Man with Sandra Bullock and Steven... no,
Wesley.
Yeah. Wesley and them, Slice alone, and they're having relations, but they're not actually touching each other. They got helmets on, so obviously we're not talking about tech. We're talking about two individuals in a lotus climax, excuse discrete words. So this has been going on now for almost over a year now. This dude, and he said, look, I'm doing this stuff, what she calls tantric stuff, and it's okay, but I'm not necessarily fulfilled. So I'm having to chill with Palmela and Hangela, to fulfill myself. What should I do, guys?
But let me ask one question, Noble. Question. Is it a marriage? Is it a marriage?
Marriage, yes, they're actually married. No
Okay,
children.
traditional marriage, yeah?
Yes, traditional marriage.
Okay. What all right, you going ahead first?
Now you go, man. I want to hear what you got to say on this.
So okay, when you say tantric, yeah,
Yeah.
penetration's involved.
No penetration whatsoever.
So it's just sort of looking at each
Very
other.
light. In essence, it's almost like first base, as the Americans would say. I think it's a little bit of fondling, possibly, but it's not about the physical touch per se.
No physical
It's
touch.
about, yeah, very
Oh,
little
man.
of that, I would say.
No, boy. This is a difficult one, you know, because I'm gonna tell you the truth. Men have needs. Women has needs. Like we're human. We all have needs. What is the purpose? What is the purpose of the wife not wanting to change the sexual style? Then I can go into my analysis.
Okay.
Yeah.
From what he said, because I had to call him up and like get some more clarity, because there was just everything that was said, I was like, I need more detail. So for her, I think it is, there was nothing wrong with what was happening before, but I think because she's been around this group of people, and I think it was a women's retreat.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe this was quite feminist heavy / new agey kind of like cult type situation. No disrespect. Because as I say, what's happened after now is she thinks that this is the next step. This is the evolution of sex. So when you were a teenager, you do that kind of stuff. When you become an adult, you don't need to have physical intercourse anymore. You can just vibe off each other's energy. And another thing that they mentioned, the Kundalini energy. Are you aware of that?
Kundalini energy.
Yeah, Kundalini energy.
What is this, Noble?
Yeah, I
Why?
know. Yes. So this is very, very much a new age concept. And when I say new age, people might think, well, this means new, like it's very recent, to a point, but nothing is new under the sun. So this is going back to like a East Indian Asian sort of ideology. So the system it's a chakra system. It's an energy point system that's supposed to be within your body, your temple.
Okay, no more. You don't even need to explain no more.
Okay, yeah,
I got the analysis. All
Okay.
right. I'm gonna speak to the brother first, and then I'm gonna speak to the sis. So we don't go through life, we grow through life. We both know that. However, a man has his needs, a woman has her needs, but it sounds like his woman is being influenced by other women with this new way of doing things. Now, for the brother, I'd say this to the brother: you need to sit down with your missus, yeah, and you need to discuss this thoroughly. You need to tell her how you feel. You need to let her know that you have needs. However, you love her very much, but you've got needs. But you want to support what it is she wants to do, but you've got needs. So they're going to have to come up with some sort of plan, I would say. Maybe they do that, centric thing, 2 weeks out of the month. And 2 weeks out of the month, they have penetrative. So for 2 weeks, they do that, whatever that thing is. And then for the other 2 weeks, you open up to each other, man. Because at the end of the day, them reproductive organs are there for a reason, innit?
Yes.
I get all the spiritual stuff, I get all of that. But I've always been one of them, every little thing that we do is between me and you kind of guys. You get what I'm saying? So if do what you gotta do, man, but it's gonna be hard. To the sister, I'm gonna say this. If you do not satisfy your man, he'll find it somewhere else. That's a fact. It may take a year.
Sibling. Repeat that
Repeat it again. All right, let me say this clearly. Sis, if you do not satisfy your man outside of you having an injury or whatever, if you're not, I'm not saying that you at the drop of a hat you're meant to just ski in front. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you're supposed to satisfy your man and your man's supposed to satisfy you. Now, if you don't want to do that for whatever reason, that man eventually will find somebody else to do that for him. Now, hear me out. You're letting that man have a semen retention thing going on. Now, you see when man's rolling around with semen retention, people, I don't think people understand the severity of that problem, you know. Hear what I'm saying? A man's going to be at work. Suddenly, you know, a woman who...
To show as much as possible. They've got to show their cleavage. They've got to show their legs. You know, everything's tight and stuff. In essence, it's titillation, high heels, wedges, you know, accentuating their calf and all that. So everywhere a male goes, he's been sexually titillated. He's not proactively looking for this. It's the way the fashion is being presented to show the woman's femininity, to show what she has, to attract the opposites. So as you say, this retention, please continue.
Yes, a problem can come from this. When a man, you see, when you got a man who's faithful to you and he's attracted to you, I think you need to satisfy that man. As long as the relationship's healthy, satisfy that man. If you're going to leave that door open, people will come into that relationship because that man does have needs. He could love you like cook food. If he's not getting that, he will get that somewhere else. And it may not happen today. It may not even happen tomorrow. But that day will come when he sees something that shows an interest in him, and he will want to release that retention. Now, on top of that, let me just add to that. You can't follow these. A lot of these women that are talking about, I'm celibate and I'm trying to tap into my spiritual side. Now, there are some who genuinely feel that way, but some are only saying in that because they're celibate because there's no man about. So you can't compare yourself to a single woman. Single women keep women single. You can't, as a woman, you can't follow your friends. It doesn't matter if your friend said, oh, I'm being celibate and I've opened up my spiritual realm and all of this. That's because you ain't got no man. If you had a man, you wouldn't be celibate. So it's kind of difficult to tell it's difficult now because as a big man, I would struggle with a woman telling me that we're going to look at each other to open the spiritual realm.
Yeah.
That can't run him. Yeah. That can't run for me. Like, I'm a grown man. And that's it. In the end of the day, you know, sex is part of a relationship. I'm not saying that you know, at the click of a finger, I'm not saying that, you know, it meant to run 24/7, but they need to have some kind of compromise, meet in the middle. 2 weeks out the month, you do it how the girl wants to do it, how the woman wants to do it, sorry. And 2 weeks out the month, you follow how the man wants to do it. Simple. What you saying, Noble?
Compromise.
Compromise.
You've laid the table, the knife and forks, the spoons there, the entree things, the food's been prepared and laid out, man. It's time to eat now, sibling.
Come true, man.
So everything you said is that's pretty much one of the things I was saying to him. So let me add some more to that. Let me add some more for that before I elaborate on the conversation we had. So from the woman's standpoint, I think it's, now I did say this to the guy, I think it's an age thing as well because she's still growing as a woman. As a man, as you say, we grow through life, yeah. So she's still growing, and I don't think necessarily she's found herself. So any new concept and idea that that sounds halfway decent, um, is gonna draw attention. Is gonna get like, oh, okay, well, this is what I've done traditionally. This seems right. It sounds right. All of these women are co-signing it. Let's try it out. Now, on the man's part, okay, your wife's come home. She said, "Yo, listen. I found this new thing, spiritual enlightenment. And yo, listen, we don't even need to get all sweaty and stuff, man. When let's try this." And you're thinking as a man, like, okay, I love you, okay, let's try it out. And he said initially, he was skeptical at first, but was interested to see exactly what was what. And then, you know, she, she's explaining through the process. He was telling me, and he was just thinking like, this is just like foreplay, and then once that is completed, then you get to the normal thing. So he's going along with it. He's feeling the aura and all that stuff. That deep breathing, all this kind of stuff, and it kind of finishes. So he's like, okay, part that was part one, so part two. And she's looking like, no, that's it. So he's gone along with it, and I said, look, second time, third time, okay, a month's passed, and like, that's all you're doing. Like, so let's rewind time. How frequently were you kind of like, connecting and becoming a one physically? And he was like, every other day, man. I'd come home and she'd be dressed up in this, and we'd do all kind of stuff. We were quite sexually liberated in that respect, costumes and all kind of different little things. So I'm thinking, okay, so every other day kind of thing. She's initiating it all pretty much a lot of the time. It's not you as the man doing your thing. She's like, yeah, it was 60% her in essence, which I found amazing. And I'm thinking, flipping out, what on earth's changed? And I said, well, after the month, or during that first month period, what was you doing? What did you not say, like, I'm happy to try this stuff out, but we still need to do what we were doing before, kind of thing. And he was like, I didn't want to rock the boat, kind of thing. She was really passionate about it, and she was really enjoying it. And I did notice that she had changed as a person of sorts, for the better. She seemed a lot more happier. So I want her to be happy, quote unquote, perfect, airbrushed, BBL'd women. Nothing really truly natural about them. And don't get it wrong, on the other side, you do have natural women show, it's the picture that the culture that we're in now it's very carnal. That's the best way to put it. It's very carnal. So I understand the position that the brother's in. I think that his wife shouldn't have put him in that position. I really don't think she should have put him in that position. He's trying to talk to her about it. See, this is the thing. Now, what you said, and now I'm going into the second part of the conversation. He's kind of, I don't think with as much diligence, but he's tried to have a conversation like, oh, can we mix things up a little bit, kind of thing. And because he hasn't necessarily sat her down in a set and said, look, we need to, talk about this kind of thing. It's been kind of, they're in the car going somewhere. Oh, a bit later on, can we? He hasn't necessarily put his stamp on it, so it's become a snowball now, and he's at a point now, kind of thing, as you said. Yo, I got needs. What should I do? Should And I said initially, what you should have done at the start was have that conversation. That's what needs to be had now. Now, how many different options we got? She can either compromise and we can have that balance. They can done. He can go out and sneak out with the secretary, or Becky at flipping the food shop who's serving him. Yeah, man could jump on these social medias and whatever the hookup application is, start doing that. But it there's a root here, and as you said, men and women have needs. I find it quite selfish on the woman's part putting him in that position per se, but at the same time, two people who are in this relationship, and I think the man should have been had a bit more courage in his conviction to say, wait a minute, let's slow down a little bit, let's have a conversation about this, rather than getting to the point now where can you imagine how frustrated he is, Mark?
Of course, man. Listen, it's not only the frustration, yeah. My man's definitely going to find another woman. Like, it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. He's gonna eventually find another woman who's gonna give him what he wants. And this is where relationships start to experience problems, because he loves his woman, but he's not getting his needs met from this woman. So he's gonna end up having somebody else on the side who does that for him. And like I said, it's a matter of time. So what needs to happen is he has to put his foot. Without making it sound bad, he's got to put his foot. He's almost got to give an ultimatum. He almost has to say, "Yo, I don't actually want to cheat. I don't actually want to disrespect you in any way, but I've got needs." So she's gonna either have to give him a pass to do what he's doing, or they're gonna have to make arrangements to split up. And in this climate, that's a difficult thing to do. So I think that they need a compromise. If they love each other, they need a compromise. But this is why I say the input from friends and family and all of that is a dangerous input in any relationship, because you can meet a girl who you've met her one way, and of course we grow through life, but she's around friends and family who are not in relationships. So the type of advice that those friends and family give doesn't help the relationship. If you speak to, I'll give a quick example. So when that Kiki Palmer situation went on, yeah? You remember that Kiki Palmer thing, Noble?
Yes.
Every woman I spoke to who was in a relationship gave one type of answer, and every single woman gave another type of answer. So you have to be careful where you're getting counsel from. You can't get counsel from somebody who's not in that situation. Like, you hear all these people giving out advice on what they would do in this situation, that situation, when they've realistically never been in that situation. So it's a fairy tale.
Experience.
And this is why a lot of relationships are being damaged in today's world, because a lot of girls are taking counsel from the wrong type of girls, and a lot of women, and then a lot of men are taking counsel from the wrong type of man. So that situation there, I hope they can work through it, but it is going to be difficult. That guy sounds like he's going to cheat. How you got a big man, excuse my language, people, how you got a big man wanking off, man? That's some, I'm not saying that ain't something that happens, but that's some little man thing. That's some prison boy thing. When you got crutches at home, you see what I'm saying, Noble?
Yeah.
Like, what? Nah. I know a lot of men are going through it still. I'm not gonna lie, but he's gonna end up with he's gonna meet someone else. He is. And you said they got children.
No. Luckily, there's no children.
Very lucky.
Involved. There's not with this marriage. He's got children from his previous marriage, not with this new relationship. Well, marriage, I guess you can. Yeah, marriage, because they're married. Yeah. Nah.
Yeah, she's gonna have to do something for him, man.
I remember listening to a late night radio thing, and they were talking about something similar to this, and it came into my head, and I thought I need to add this into the dynamic. It was similar to this, but the woman what was it now? They're married for like 40 years or something like that, had children, all this business, and used getting his needs met utilizing a sex worker.
That's a bit too much.
It's crazy.
That's a bit too much, boss. Are you inviting? No, but you see, if you do that, it's like, okay, a couple weeks back, that Tiana Taylor ended up coming out and saying that her and her man are split up. She had some famous relationship. She come out, she's like, yo, me and my man split up. Like his husband, they got children, everything. Now, I weren't shocked. I wasn't shocked in the slightest. Now, the reason I wasn't shocked is because I've watched interviews of these like before, saying that they have threesomes and stuff. Now, when you're in a marriage, you know, a traditional marriage, doing that will never ever work. It will never work. Anytime you invite a third person in like that, it will always create disaster down the line. It's better, that guy you're talking about, it's better for him to buy a fleshlight.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Buy a fleshlight. Now, hear what I'm saying. Now, I've never used one, but I know what they are, and they're massive. Like in the world, enough man. If you don't know who it is, Google it. But enough man will pretend like it's one of the number one in selling things on Amazon. Yeah. Now, what it is apparently that's meant to be the closest thing to the real thing.
So them say.
I mean, I've never tried it, you know what I mean? So I couldn't tell you for certain. But they're promoted heavily, like to even now where you have like porn stars who have their own one.
Yes.
And the massive. Now I'm saying it's better the brother gets one of them than brings in a next woman. You know what I mean? Yeah, that ain't gonna work. That is not good. You're inviting energy and souls into the relationship that are gonna create problems down the line. That you're creating unhealthy soul ties.
You know what? 100% agree with you. Let me play righteous advocate. What about intimacy? What about having that physical touch? Fair enough, the mechanics of Palmela, Hangela, fleshlight, you know what I mean? That's getting to the end point. But and don't get it twisted, there are some men that they're not interested. Listen, they don't want to have no kind of foreplay, kissing, touching. They just want to get, you know what I mean, pump and dump, and that's it. But majority of normal men, the end part is the as they call it, the climax, is the climax of the thing. But you
love making, no, what you're saying, love making.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but you can only make love to someone you love.
Yeah, true.
You can't do it. No, but think about it, yeah. You can't do kissing, touching with some stranger. That's mad, man.
Well,
remember, you don't even know the hygiene levels of that person. Remember, you're a woman, you know her hygiene levels, you know. You see what I mean? A woman smell the things she creams herself with.
Yes, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, the things she creams herself with, her diet, her the things that she drinks. You know what I mean? All that stuff plays a part. If you just meet a random woman, I can only speak for myself, but a random woman, I couldn't do none of that with. It'd have to be someone I know. You know what I mean? Know and love.
And invested in.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one. To put a capstone on it, my advice, to echo what you said, and this is what I said, and I said obviously we'll discuss it in more detail, but you need to have a sit down. You need to have an open, honest conversation. You've committed to actually sign papers and all that there, you know, to make a one ship. So to make this thing last, you need to really say, yo, okay, you know, where can we compromise? How can we mix in some of the old with what you have brought in, which is the new. Otherwise, as you say, it's going to be disastrous.
Exactly. So what are you saying then? You want to switch it up?
Yeah, man. Unless you got any more to add to that, I think we went, we went in on that still.
It's a good first one, definitely a good first one, man. I'm looking forward to some of the other ones.